What is going on, guys? Corrosive Bullet here, and today we're going to be discussing the upcoming format changes to Dragon Ball Super card game Fusion World. We're going to go over a simple rule change that is happening within the rules of the game, as well as talking about the ban and limited list as well as my thoughts on that. So if you guys want to see more Fusion World videos like that, consider hitting the like and subscribe button down below. And comment what you guys think of it as well towards the end of it. But let's kind of get into it. So the only rule change that's happening within the game is that the person that ends up going first in each match will now be able to draw a card from the top of your deck. So now both players are able to draw, and I think now, I think it's relatively balanced. I wouldn't say it was unbalanced before. There was a intended use for turn 1 and turn 2, or first and second player. First player was able to set up the board early, in terms of what it needed, able to mill out the deck a little bit faster, is able to kind of set up and prep for their opponent, even self-awaken early to be able to awaken sooner. While the second player was more so able to delve into the gameplay mechanics of the game, being able to attack first, being able to react to whatever the opponent did first in their first turn, get the extra energy marker and whatnot. So, but this balances it out a little bit. I think it makes the game a bit more consistent. It allows the first player to draw from the go, and it doesn't feel bad going from 6 cards to 5 cards, and at least you're drawing it from 7 going into 6. So this isn't that bad of a change. I think this is warranted, and I think it balances things a little bit well. On top of that, though, certain products are going to be reprinted because of this. The starter deck, all the starter decks, as well as the new starter deck coming out, which we'll talk in a separate video about the early leaks that have kind of released on Black and the leaders and stuff like that. That'll be in a later video. But August 9th, when Set 3 ends up dropping, all of these are going to be potentially... this is coming out that day, but there's also a possibility that this is going to get reprinted. There's going to be a second wave of starter decks, which I think is really good. I think if giving players the option and availability of being able to pick this up will help to introduce players into the game that may not have been able to get into because of product not being available in the first wave. So that's actually pretty nice. And obviously it's just changing the play sheet and the rule manuals and stuff like that. So, but in terms of rules, that's really the only thing that's kind of really changing in terms of how the game is played. But now we're going to get into the nitty gritty, and we'll kind of discuss my personal thoughts on this. A couple days ago, I released a video in terms of my thoughts on what I would like to see. I've already been kind of spoiled as to what that is, but since they put it up on the website, I kind of want to see what their reasoning was in terms of why they banned and restricted cards the way that they did. So let's kind of just jump into it and see what they say. Yep, they kind of talk about what banning and restricting is. The tabletop version of the game, the actual game itself, this change is going to go into effect on July 1st. Whereas the digital version, about a week and a half later, will get these changes. Honestly, I kind of wish that they would kind of be a little faster with the turnarounds on this. Like, I don't see any reason why the rules would go into play here, but it takes an extra week and a half of programming to kind of get that out. I mean, bugs and stuff, sure, but I mean, it's still, I don't know. Like, I kind of wish this was a change like this should be same day, I feel like, but that's neither here or there. All right, so the first card that's getting banned is the Set 1 Master Roshi, the 1-drop 10k combo that allows you to self-awaken and reduce the cost of extra cards. Let's see what they say here. This card's skill lets a player adjust their life cards, making it easier to control the awakening timing, along with the cost reduction for extra cards, greatly affecting the ability to deliver a final decisive blow late in the game. As a result, the frequency of red decks has increased too much. So to help balance out its strong influence on the game environment, we've decided that this is a banned card. I think the reasoning is solid, especially in Top Coup. I think this is a lot more prevalent, but being able to dictate when you decide to go live at whatever moment you feel is right to do that. This guy is like the cheapest card to do that. being able to, on turn 3 or 4, just play for 1, but still have the ability to play something after the fact, while also increasing your leader's power and getting their awakened effects, like, is really strong. In Top Coup specifically, being able to reduce the cost, being able to play this guy back to back to back to get the 3 life for Top Coup, on top of, in a late game, if you wanted to add a card to your hand from your life and then make a card like Glimpse cheaper to just throw 25k combo power in, like, for cheaper, is like, it was very telling. Like, it sucks because I like this card. I like that a card like Roshi has as much relevance and importance as it did in the first set, but obviously with Top Coup and a lot of the stuff that came with set 2, this guy just became way too strong, and I don't think they necessarily intended for him to be that strong, but this is justified. I think this makes sense. I mean, I would have maybe wouldn't have argued either if they decided to limit this to 1, but that being said, like, I understand why they removed this guy. He's just too good. And a little piece of information too, guys, like, when it comes to these ban lists and stuff, we need to keep an open mind, because these cards can return at any point. Like, these cards are, just because it's banned now doesn't mean it can't come back later in a limited format or even in a full playset format. Like, just because Roshi's gone now doesn't necessarily mean that he'll never be back again. So, like, Masters has done that quite a bit. So, the next card that's gotten banned is Ribrianne. So what do they say? They say, this card, which has double strike when combined with the leader skill of Son Goku, can be played for just 1 cost, lets the player go on a rampage-like attack. In most conditions, the defending player becomes greatly limited in options too, and must maintain their life cards at a certain level, which greatly decreases the chance to win. And that makes sense. Every other double strike card at this point has been 5 cost, been 0 combo power, and have other skills outside the double strike. But being able to play her at a cost of 1, while also having 10k combo power, and when you couple a card like this with a card like Glimpse, like, it is just too strong for an aggro deck like Red. It's too strong. She basically eliminated any reason to run the double strike Goku at all. Like you can just play her and play the combo. Like, again, it's a matter of playing her, being able to play a Roshi to awaken, to pull a card from Awakening. If you have Glimpse in hand, then Glimpse is like 1 cost, so now she's at 45k. At the same 45k at the same cost of a double strike Goku, which is 10k combo, which is 10k power less and no combo. So you could run her at a 4 of, and it actually, like, doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt you in any way. So Ribrianne, I think, as an option, it's understandable. There was a card in Masters that was a Champa in red, that when comboed, it allowed you to make any card that you comboed with or attacked with a double striker. And that card was banned for a reason. So if a card like that is being banned, like, a card like this should also be banned too. This makes sense. Now, with this, I don't feel as good about this. So Kefla is being limited to 1. They say being able to play this card multiple times in a match using the leader skill of Goku gives the player a clear advantage. It has a powerful on-play effect, making it stable, and at the same time has good synergy to progress the game, which results in more players than anticipated using it and battles becoming one-sided. Now, this first part, I agree with a lot. This part, where it's a powerful on-play effect, I mean, it's strong. It's strong, but I wouldn't say that it's necessarily, like, I wouldn't say it's necessarily, like, broken or one-sided, like it's kind of saying here. Like, because it's all dependent on what you play and when you need to play it. Like, the card you played with Kefla was very situational, dependent on what it is that you needed to do in that moment. And then after she's played, she was just a 25k beat stick. And I mean, you never played her before Top Coup was awakened. Like, because otherwise she's just a 20k body. that just does this effect, and that extra 5k goes a long way. Limiting her down to 1 actually hurts red a lot. In my previous video, I said that I think she should go down to 2, because at least going down to 2, you see her more consistently at 2, and allows you to make these types of aggro style plays, which is what red has always been, whether it's in this deck or in this game or in Masters. By limiting her down to 1, you're rarely ever going to see her. And this doesn't just affect top coup, it affects every other red deck in the game. And so while I understand and agree with the ban restrictions on Roshi and Ribrianne, limiting her down to 1 hurts red more than it helps the rest of the game. And I'm not a red player. I play more blue. I like that top coup is now balanced. Like, top coup is definitely more balanced than he was, but I don't think top coup is going to see much play anymore, because playing any of the 3-drop Tournament of Power cards with off of top coup's ability does not feel good. It's not a good answer or a feeling to do that. And the only reason that it felt good to play this was because you could play you could play other stuff with her. But now, because like top coup's not going to be able to play wide whatsoever. You're not going to be able to play as wide as you were able to before, because you can only have one of this in a deck. And I don't think that's right. Now, in terms of the repercussions of what this entails and what this means, it's a little too early to say. I want to be optimistic and say that because top coup has been damaged enough, and because Kefla isn't as prevalent, yellow I think is now in a much better place than it was. Blue is now up into like I wouldn't say that's tier 0 meta anymore. I would say though that like blue probably now is Z tier in terms of most of the blue decks are Z tier at this point. And I think green really just steps back up into its set 1 meta. And that's what scares me more than anything. I think that green is going to completely sweep like it did before? No. I think now that yellow is in a much better position than red was prior to top coup, yellow is going to keep green kind of in check a little bit, but blue is still going to have a really bad matchup against green. Red is now going to have a bit of a bad matchup against green. And green is so much stronger now than it was in set 1. Like, and this is my biggest gripe, I think, with this current ban list. It's more so, not so much that red got affected, it's the fact that nothing else got affected. Like, there was, like, obviously red needed to be taken down a peg, but now it's not, now we're just back to set 1. Now we're back to green being top dog with some scarier options, mind you. That, like the cell deck, having no restrictions whatsoever and being able to play that 8-drop cell back to back to back turns is a scary thought, considering that it's a pseudo board clear, and it's a pseudo board clear, and it's able to bring your life back up by 1. Like, Zamasu right now in blue is really strong because he's able to kind of sit and bring his life back up when he's at 2. And I've been to my locals, and I've seen people playing Zamasu, and I can't tell you how many times people were up against a Zamasu and they were saying things like saying that they were I went through 10 life against Zamasu. Like, I just couldn't get him down past 2. Like, that's basically what Cell's doing for green, and green has stronger options at 8 energy. So, I don't know. Like, it's... Like, again, red needed to be taken down a peg, but blue could have easily limited Pilaf. Green could have definitely, like, limited Broly, or they could have limited Cell Games Arena. They could have done more than what they did here. But this, to me, just comes off as just, we want to appease the fan base and the player base. and we're just going to only affect the things that are being the thing that's being complained about. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that's the right approach to this. Now, I'm not saying either that people can't have their gripes about Kefla and they can't have their gripes about like other things in red, but this is just a reactionary ban. This isn't like a well thought out like ban, in my opinion. To me, it comes off as we want to keep we don't all the negative scrutiny of the set 2 meta. Like we need to have a immediate answer to that and not actually sit down and look at the game as a whole and think what needs to be improved game wide. Because you shouldn't be able to go peel off back to back to back and build 30,000 combo power by doing so. Cards like Broly shouldn't be able to be played back to back to back because of how oppressive that is. Like they're sitting here and saying that being able to play this card multiple times in a match gives the player a clear advantage. Like Broly does that. Broly does that. Like Pilaf, I wouldn't say necessarily that it gives a clear advantage, but it definitely is a bit oppressive to be able to do Pilaf back to back to back. Like there's other things that in this game that need to be tweaked. And I'm hoping that with this ban list that they gave us, despite it only affecting one color and that being unfortunate, that with this in mind, come set 3, things will be a bit more balanced than what it is. Because if we're complaining about what red was doing now, like if there's no answer to green come next set and green gets more stronger options, we're going to be in the same spot. We're going to be in the exact same spot that we were before. So just keep that in mind. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be like, I'm not nitpicking in any way. I think in terms of my views on this, I feel like I feel like it's justified, and I feel like it's at least in my mindset, the way that I wanted this ban list to go was to be a bit more balanced game wide as opposed to just affecting one color. But maybe Bandai doesn't see that. Maybe they're the ones making the game. I just play the game. So I mean, their perspective and my perspective are going to be very different. So, but that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please consider hitting that like button. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys think that this is a justified list? What do you think of the options in terms of the banning and restricting? I would love to see your opinions as opposed to just just speaking aloud myself. Let me know what you guys think about these cards. But that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace.